Další epizoda z Evropy, vítejte, mé jméno je Michal Říha a začneme Evropskou minutkou. Dohoda o volném obchodu s Mercosurem ušetří firmám v EU 4 miliardy eur ročně. Jedna z největších mezinárodních obchodních smluv byla uzavřena mezi Evropskou unií a zeměmi Latinské Ameriky, takže se můžeme těšit asi na argentinské hovězí. 10 grantů ERC putuje do Česka. Česká věda uspěla mimořádně v rámci výzvy Evropské výzkumné rady a do Česka zamíří tak 21 milionů eur na financování českého výzkumu. Mimo jiné, 1 z těch 10 putuje i na naši fakultu. Další zpráva. Evropská komise zintenzivnila dohled nad TikTokem, zejména v souvislosti s rumunskými prezidentskými volbami, kde právě TikTok významným způsobem ovlivnil a možná až zmanipuloval výsledky voleb. Evropská komise tedy zahájila vyšetřování TikToku. Podle příslušné legislativy aktu o digitálních službách. Evropská komise pokračuje v dialogu se zemědělci. Asi jste zaregistrovali, že v tomto roce bylo poměrně mnoho demonstrací a různých konfliktů v Bruselu. Brusel nám trošku hořel, nicméně pokračuje vyjednávání a pokračuje dialog se zemědělci jednak v oblasti implementace Green Dealu a zároveň vytváření nové společné zemědělské politiky. Tak, tohle to bylo z Evropy vše a vy se nyní můžete těšit na epizodu, kterou pro vás připravil Jarda Denemark a bude se věnovat čipové rezilienci Evropské unie. Upozorňujeme, že tato epizoda je v angličtině a zároveň, že vznikla v rámci podpory Supply Chain Resilience Center. Příjemný poslech.
Greetings to our listeners. Thank you for listening our podcast. Today, guest is very special. We are very glad that he's here with us at our studio. And our guest today is Profesor Chuang from National Chengchi University, NCCU, in Taipei, Taiwan. Hello, Professor, again. Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for inviting me to join this very interesting podcast. I'm Yih-Chyi Chuanga from Taiwan, National Chengchi University, a leading research university in Taiwan, especially focused in social science and humanities.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And you are also part of the Supply Chain Resilience Center. That is a project here in the Czech Republic, and part of this project is a Taiwanese side and a Czech side, and you are here to supervise on some topics or on the project as such. Could you tell us something about the project? What's its goal? Why was it established?
Okay. The major goal of this project is that since Czech has a very solid foundation in manufacturing base and also have a strategic location in Europe, so from Taiwan's perspective, it would be a win-win solution for both. One is to help the development of the Czech Republic's semiconductor industry, because semiconductor industry will be considered as a very important industry and a high value added industry, so that it can actually promote the structural change of the industry of the Czech Republic. And also enhance the economic development and also the living standard of the people, especially increasing the salary and the wage of the people. Yeah. That is be considered as a very important point for the economic development. And from Taiwan's perspective, we think that this strategic location will be able to help us to open European market to have good access to the more internationalized market available for Taiwan. And on the other hand, is try to reduce the so-called geopolitical risk for the semiconductor industry in terms of the supply chain resilience. So in order to increase this supply chain resilience, then it will be important for us, the Czech Republic and Taiwan, to cooperate together, and so that it can diversify the risk and also increase the competitiveness of the two countries' semiconductor industries.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to fulfill that goal, then we actually, under these big projects, we set up the so-called supply chain resilience centers with the Tchaj University and the National Chengchi University, both two universities together. Why choose these two universities? Because they are most important university in each of the countries. And on the other hand, we require this so-called a close academic and industry cooperation.
Yes.
And in order to fulfill that, then it is better to have the so-called more experienced research-based universities, but not only conducting in academic research, but also how to connect the academic and also the industry together.
The stakeholders.
Yeah, stakeholders or the stakeholder involved. Yeah. So in this case, then we need to have a systematic academic and industry research to ensure that all the effort is going through this direction that helps all the stakeholders. What benefit will be taken into account. So that is the important mission of the so-called social Supply Chain Resilience Center, SCRC. And I'm a representative from the National Chengchi University, and now currently as the leading researchers of the centers, so that I also involved in the project under the different faculty of the Tchaj University, including the Faculty of Law, Faculty of Arts, and the Faculty of Science, and of course Faculty of Social Sciences as well. So this how to integrate those different field of study, but focusing on the supply chain resilience concept. It is important to integrate these different different field of study, so that eventually we can come out with the research result, which is actually provide the constructive recommendations, policy recommendation to the government. It is very important to have government support in these strategic industries. And that's why...
You mean Taiwanese government? Or
Taiwanese and Czech...
Okay,
we
both.
need both sides to cooperate, and the government play a very important role in helping the firms, the domestic and local firms, in cooperating together. So at the end, we hope that this research will generate constructive recommendations, policy recommendations to the government.
And you are now based here in Prague.
Yes,
you've been here 2 or 3 months.
Yes, September.
And what is your role personally?
My role here is one as a representative. Okay, so that I can understand what's going on in here. The second thing is that this need a closer cooperation between the two sides, and we need to ensure that each participants or project participants, leading by different faculties, they are aiming at helping the goal of the projects. So, for example, December 5th, we're going to have a joint conference from both sides, professors, providing their research outcome of their research, so that we can have some kind of interactions between the two sides. And I'm just like a middleman between these two sides, and help to try to help to streamline the whole process.
Do you enjoy this role?
Yeah, I enjoy it very much, and because in order to fulfill that, we require a more experienced senior professor, and that's why I was selected by our president of the NCCU to join these projects, and as the first representative here in Prague.
You've been here for 2 or 3 months already. Do you think that the expectations the Taiwanese side had at the beginning of the project can be fulfilled? Like, I mean, what do you think of the Czech people? Are we able to fulfill those expectations of the Taiwanese side?
Yeah. First, from the academic perspective, I have been talking with the project leaders in different faculties, okay? And as I know that they are all putting quite a great effort in putting the research in doing the research in this project. But however, we still need some more focus so that each side will not only doing project that they are interested in, but rather the project that aiming to achieve the goal of our projects. So in order to do that, we need more integrations. We need more consensus. We need more discussions in order to reach some kind of research goals that can help each other through different disciplines. Because this is really an interdiscipline.
Deeper
research.
cooperation.
Deeper cooperation is required,
sides.
and more dialogue, more conversation is actually needed. And we know that each side is doing quite well in their way on conducting the research. But however, how to integrate these both sides together is very important. That's why we have this December 5th
upcoming conference.
Upcoming conference, yes.
This is very important step in my opinion, or big first major step in this project, that this conference will be attended both by the Czech academics and the Taiwanese academics, right?
Yes.
And we'll present what we have researched so far. Yes. And Czech people in general, are they very different from the Taiwanese people?
Well, I should say that the first impressions, Czech people are very serious in some way. They didn't actually have a smile all the way, but at the very beginning, you think it's just like strangers to strangers.
Like cold?
Yeah. But however, if you know each other, then I can feel the so-called warmth, hospitalities from the Czech peoples. And I also know that the Czech people are very diligent in their workings. Okay, so that once they are focusing on one thing, they will try to accomplish the goals and by all their efforts. So it's in this way, I think it's quite similar to Taiwanese people. But however, Czech people are more of the so-called balancing their work and the leisure, so that how to get a balancing between these two,
balance,
will be also considered important things. But in Taiwan, maybe we are more focused on work, and which means that to get a large fortune first before you can enjoy it. So you still have to work hard, and in order to achieve that, then you are working even harder and harder. And in that case, you are, at least in the short run, you are sacrificing some of your leisure. And it seems to me that Oriental people are more willingness to sacrifice in this kind of in order to get a better returns or better rewards.
Yeah, I would rather agree with this statement. Yes, Taiwan is a role model for the semiconductor industry, global role model, and it's very successful. And this success is based on the special model of fabs or founders, semiconductor founders. Could you explain to our audience what is so special about the semiconductor foundries, the fabs in Taiwan? Because it is something special.
Yeah. It's really a very special stories. And that episode actually is quite hard to imitate in some way. But however, it can still provide some insightful meanings or suggestion to other countries to help them to develop. Okay. The semiconductor industry started beginning in the early 70s. Okay, and when the government is trying to consider to find a new industry for the development of the Taiwan's economies. Okay, we are actually evolving from the so-called agriculture-oriented industries, okay, to the so-called the light industries, the food, textile industries. And then they move to the chemical industries and heavy machinery industries. And then we are trying to even make further improvement. And that improvement is a new direction towards the so-called electronic industries beginning. Because at that time, we think that electronic industry is an important emerging industry.
Yes.
But having said that, still, if we want to move more foresighted to the future development, then you need some kind of forward-looking leaders from government or from the business side. Thinking about what is the fundamental development required for the electronic industry in the future. And from this perspective, they consider that the semiconductor industries will be the one that is very important and is a key industry for the electronic industries.
Was it TSMC who came first with this idea?
And so government first set up a so-called Yih-Chyi Industry Research Institute. And that Yih-Chyi is try to do the basic research for the private industry, because private industry actually lack of the capital to do the fundamental R&Ds. So this so-called Institute of the Research Institute of Taiwan is trying to help firms or the so-called small and medium-sized firms to do the research and then transfer technology to them. That's the major idea. But how to involve in this semiconductor is actually, as I told you, that the forward-looking leaders and also the business sectors, they are picking the semiconductor industry to begin with. But how to make that successful? First, you need some kind of technologies, right? The technology transfer will be from abroad because you are not good enough. So the major technology transfer is actually from the RCA, RCA companies. And then, so you get some of the knowledges. But however, how to develop the semiconductor depends on, because semiconductor actually is a long supply chain.
Yes.
So how to penetrate this supply chain and have a good positions in the supply chains require some kind of efforts. And then I should say that it come out with the concept of the foundries, to set up a foundry. Because foundry, usually to establish foundry is really a capital-intensive investment.
But what is a foundry? That's very important term.
Yeah.
That is used in a semiconductor.
Yeah, it's the manufacturing of the chips.
Yes.
Okay? It's purely doing the manufacturing of chips. So, as you know, Taiwan is good in doing the OEM, OEM, original manufacturing equipments. Okay, you are doing the so-called subcontractors to do the parts and components for the leading brand name companies. Okay, the OEM. We are good in manufacturing and doing OEM in the past. Okay, so again, if we want to focus on this semiconductor industry, then you should take your competitive advantage into account and to see what's the best point to start. To start. And somehow at that point, we come up with the idea that purely focus on the manufacturing of chips. So it's the manufacturing, okay, to begin with. And in doing this manufacturing, okay, the Morris Chang, okay, actually with the UMC, which is earlier than the establishment of the TSMC. The first electronic semiconductor company is UMC, United. And this UMC is established, I think it's also in the 70s, okay, in the 70s. But TSMC was actually established in 1987, okay. And Morris Chang is from United States. He worked in the Texas Instruments, okay. So he has a very rich knowledge regarding about the semiconductor industries. So he somehow come up with the idea that we should start beginning with the TSMC. So TSMC actually is the spin-off from the Yih-Chyi, the Research Institute of Taiwan, that spin-off and established this TSMC. And the TSMC, the major important role of TSMC is to focus mainly on manufacturing, chips only, the fabs, okay, or foundries.
Yes.
Okay. Because it's very capital intensive and it do require a lot of government's input at the beginnings.
And the improvement of manufacturing.
And since we have a good manufacturing base, then and doing the so-called foundries, you can take the advantage of in economic, we call it economy of scale. So you can enlarge your production size by purely focus on the manufacturing of the chips. Okay, but that requires a lot of investment, especially capital investments. So once TSMC was established and focused in this perspective, and together with the new technologies, okay, and keep upgrading its technology and focusing on the manufacturing. Okay, so nowadays the most advanced chip manufacturing is by TSMC.
Yes.
So it's very specialized in the manufacturing.
They have the technology and know-how.
Technology and know-how, and in doing this and focusing mainly specialized in the production of TSMC in chips. That's a very important business model. Why? Because now you can have the cheapest and competitive advantage in producing the chips. Okay, so you can reduce the chip cost, manufacturing cost. And usually the traditional way is the IMD model. IMD model means integrated design manufacturing manufacturers, which means that you integrate manufacturing with the design all together. Chip design and chip manufacturing, they are all together and as an integrated design and manufacturer. That's like Intel.
Yes.
Okay, so they are actually dominates all because you integrate this more very sophisticated process and into one, so that no one actually can compare with you because you need design, but you also need manufacturing.
Yes.
Okay, for the designers, it's not likely every designer to establish their manufacturing establishment for manufacturing. So they have to rely on the IDMs. But the establishment of TSMC is so efficient, it reduced the production cost of the chips so that every designer, they can just have their design finished and then send it to TSMC, ask TSMC to produce and to manufacture chips for them at a very low chip cost.
Yes.
So that creates even a larger market for TSMC, and that also creates the room for the chip designers. Okay, they can survive. They no longer need to establish their own manufacturing base for the chips. So this kind of specialization in designing and specialization in manufacturing, okay, of chips, that makes this kind of specialization and division of the labor in this upstream and downstream of the semiconductor industries.
Yes.
And later on, of course, TSMC further incorporates the new technology in helping the chip designers, and also further deepening in doing the so-called packaging and testing, okay, and even the distributions, logistic distribution. This all along the way, then with the establishment of TSMC, it integrates all these different parts of supply chain together. So therefore, Taiwan forms a very good supply chain for the semiconductor industries.
Yes.
And that's the story of TSMC. And that's the uniqueness of TSMC. Without TSMC, which is the core of the semiconductor supply chain in Taiwan, without TSMC, it's not likely to be able to spit over to these benefits to the designer, to the chip designer, and also to the packaging and the testing, and also the downstream product distributions. So this well and sound supply chain is actually created through the model of the TSMC.
Yes, and its foundries.
Yeah.
And is somehow the government of Taiwan supporting this model? Is interested in
government supporting the development of semiconductor industry, but how to actually create and use in a new business model that require some technology not technology, know-how, and also understanding the global trend in the semiconductor industry. So this business model of the manufacturing solely focus on manufacturing production by the TSMC is a very important concept, and that actually leading to the successful development of the semiconductor industry in Taiwan.
And is the Taiwanese economy based on the semiconductor production? Is it the main thing that is part of the Taiwanese economy?
Yeah, no, it becomes the most important industries in Taiwan. Okay, and I have some numbers that can show you that it indeed generate quite a large quite a large part of the economy is actually supported by the TSMC. Okay. For example, in year 2024, Taiwan's total productions, the output of total Taiwan's TSMC contribute to 13.6%. Okay, and it also consists of the 30% of Taiwan's total exports. And in terms of the global share in the semiconductor industry, the TSMC contributes to 26.2%. Okay, and the TSMC actually is close to 60% of the semiconductor chips. Okay, produced by TSMC globally. Okay, and if you consider as the most advanced chip productions, almost 90% produced by TSMC.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So in terms of production, as I just mentioned, this business model actually enabled the TSMC to be so efficient and competitive in the international market in the manufacturing. But it also spilled over to other parts of supply chain. And that benefits the establishment of the supply chain of the semiconductor industries.
That's the important thing.
Yeah.
So we can say that the modern world and the digital world is dependent on TSMC and Taiwan.
Yeah, we can say that because chip now becomes so important key components in every electronic products. Like automobile, like phones,
fridge,
fridge, whatever.
White electronics.
Yeah, you also need some kind of chips inside in order to make it operated.
Yes. So, but are there any dangers to the Taiwanese semiconductor industry? Are there any threats that can endanger?
Yeah, the only threat is the threat across the Taiwan Strait. Okay, because the long-standing the political conflicts and tensions across the strait.
You mean China?
Yeah, which actually impose deep pressures on Taiwan's economies, and of course, from Taiwan's perspective, we have to diversify our market. We currently have a large trade share with the China, okay, and because geographically we are close, because we are speaking the same language, sharing almost the same traditions mostly, and Chinese cultures as well. So in this regards, then usually we have a very close economic tie. Okay, in the past we even have more than close to 40% of our trade is tied with the mainland China. But however, due to the political reasons, okay, the two sides actually have that kind of political conflicts, and in this way, then Taiwan is likely to control by or too dependent on China will be manipulated some way somehow and lose its independence in its economies and politically.
Yes.
So in this way, then we would like to have our own living of life. So we want to maintain our values, and we want to maintain our life. So how to do that? Then we have to less rely on any countries, especially China. Okay, so in this way, then we have to diversify our trade or investment. Okay, and that's why we are moving south for the current to the south, and here now we are considering even to have some more global deployment of our trade and industries now shift to European country, because Europe is also considered a very important market for us as well.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is it important to, in order to not to escalate the conflict between China and Taiwan, is it important to maintain the political status quo of Taiwan? I mean, Taiwan has independent government. Taiwan has independent economy.
Yes.
But according to China, it's still part of the China.
Yeah.
Is it important to maintain the status quo? Or should Taiwan say, okay, we are no longer part of China?
In the past, we are adopting the so-called strategic ambiguities. So in this way, then we want to maintain the status quo. Status quo which doesn't touch with the political issues. Okay, so that's why we have these economic connections between the two sides. Okay, and it is because of these strategic ambiguities, which is not touching the so-called the one China issues. So in this case, then it's fine with maintaining status quo. And most of Chinese are actually, if you look at the public poll, then you are going to see that they would like to maintain the status quo. But however, the status quo is the international politics is actually dynamic. So it's not easy to maintain that kind of status quo.
Yes.
Okay, especially when Taiwan looks like to have more diversified investment, or to want to have a more trade with more other countries.
Yes.
Then in this way, then China will consider we want to away from them.
Yeah.
So in this case, then they will escalate this kind of tension across the strait, and it is because of this. And because of the COVID-19, and because of the China trade and the U.S. trade war, okay, that kind of tension is escalating. Okay, because now involved the geopolitical risk. Also, the TSMC is so important in Taiwan, and it is also so important for the global economies. So in this way, the political and the economic reason making this intensifies the situations. So in this way, then Taiwan tried to be more politically, and politically is already independent in some way, because we have our own government, own nations, even on military troops. Okay, so
democratic elections.
And the most importantly is because two sides has two different political systems. Okay, and it is this political system, I think, different political segregate both sides. If we have one political system, of course, then it's easy to integrate together, right? But now, of course, from the PRC's perspective, they would like to integrate into one system, which is the communist system. And from Taiwan's perspective, we don't want to be living in a communist system.
Yes.
Okay, because once we have the value of freedom and democracy.
Yes.
Okay, just like Czech, now you are embrace the freedom and the democracy away from the communism. It used to be
communism back.
Yeah, you don't want to have communism back, right? Just like Taiwan. So we would like to precious our current achievements in freedom and democracy, and people enjoy their life there. So it is this way. Then we want to keep away from the mainland China, okay? And it is from mainland China's perspective, they consider Taiwan is part of China. Okay, so they want to integrate Taiwan. But however, because of these two different political systems, it's not easy, or at least I think from Taiwan's perspective, okay, we don't want the communist system.
Yes. When I was in Taiwan, I asked a lot of people at NCCU if they think that the invasion of China is possible, if it could happen, and the answer was usual answer was we think it may happen, we are prepared, but we don't know when. It can be tomorrow, it can be in a week, it can be in a year. What's your opinion on this?
Well, it is hard to say. Of course, Taiwan's people, we should have that kind of mindset that if we want to maintain this, our life, our way of living under the free and democratic societies, and in this way, then we have to be able to protect us. And to protect us is that we have to be able to deter in some way that China will annex Taiwan. Okay, but however, military, they are very strong, and it's likely to attack Taiwan. Of course, Taiwan would like to deter them in a way that it's too costly to attack Taiwan in some way. Okay, so that's the way to prevent the war. If we can persuade China in some way that it's just too costly to attack Taiwan, then that's the best way to protect Taiwan. And how? That would be another question, is how to do that. One is make yourself independent in some way, politically and especially economically.
Yes.
If you have strong economies, and then you're going to have a stronger capabilities to against the annexion by the China. Okay, but we also know that the China consider Taiwan as part of China, so any move of Taiwan away from China, they will consider that is a reason for them to attack.
Yeah.
Okay, so how to also avoid that kind of situation? But as I told you in the past, it's easy to blur these kind of issues by the so-called strategic ambiguity without choosing sides. Okay, but now because the U.S.-China trade war and because of the COVID, because COVID makes the supply chains so vulnerable in terms of the external shock. Okay, so that we have to have a better supply chains. Okay, and because of the U.S.-China trade war, then they are actually one world with two systems. Okay, they try to actually, because they are fighting each other, then you have to choose which side to rely on. Okay, and because we have free and more democratic system, we embrace these values. Therefore, definitely we choose the free and democratic side as our allies. But in doing this, then it makes this so in doing this, then China will consider we are choosing sides. We used to be in between. Strategic ambiguity means that you didn't choose sides. So it can maintain the status quo. Status quo means that you didn't choose sides.
Yes.
Once you choose sides, then
there is no status quo.
There is no status quo. You are choosing the sides. So that's the difficulty that encounter Taiwan today. We have to choose sides in some way, but however, it also increases the risk of the attack by the China. And as I told you, the other important way is how to deter their attack is to increase the cost of their attack.
But isn't it so that the China is at least partially dependent on the semiconductors from Taiwan?
Yes. Yeah, that's why we consider TSMC once they say that it's the magic mountain to protect Taiwan. Okay, 护国神山, we say that 护国神山 in Chinese. Okay, which means the magic mountains which protects the countries. Okay, and because of this, so the TSMC is so important. It's protecting us. But because of this, from the especially from United States perspective, it's just from global perspective, it's just too dangerous to put all the eggs in TSMC, and therefore they ask TSMC to actually move to establish branches in United States, in Japan, in Germany. So in this way, but from TSMC's perspective, it is also a strategic move such that it can have a global deployment of opening more global markets for TSMC, because they get market access in establishing the TSMC in the local market. So that way also benefits TSMC in some way. And it is this way that if TSMC is so important, if semiconductor is so important, then and that means Taiwan is also so important for the global economies. And then therefore, globally, all the countries in should also pay more attention and try to help to protect Taiwan as well. So it is in this way, and then Taiwan, as I mentioned, that it's also increased the cost of the China's attack annex of Taiwan's. Yeah. So in this way, semiconductor industries have both economic and political motivation for us to protect Taiwan.
Yes. Maybe last question, because it's very interesting debate, and we could talk about the supply chain and semiconductor industry in Taiwan for weeks. I've been to Taiwan and attended the summer school at NCCU, and we talked about this for 14 days straight, and it was not enough.
Yeah,
it was not enough.
Sure.
But for now, maybe one last question, just to ease the topic. Is here in the Czech Republic that you really miss, and is not here but is in Taiwan? Do you miss something so much that you would bring it here from Taiwan? You personally?
Well, because personally, I'm quite traveling abroad quite often to different countries, but I still, to me, I think internally, personally, I think the Czech people, because of this the evolution of the countries over times, because the identity of the countries, we are so similar in some way, okay, and because of the people's personalities, okay, I think it has some similarity between the two, okay. Of course, in China's philosophy, ancient philosophy, traditional philosophy, okay, and which is maintained in Taiwan rather than in People's Republic of China. Okay, we are actually try to harmonize the or balance the good and the bad, good luck and bad luck, and good things and bad things, and the angel and evils. We try to balance these two. So in this way, then pursuing a balance in life, like Czech people, is actually the goal for the Chinese philosophy as well. But nowadays we are so focused in economic development, so we are putting a lot of our effort more on the physical development. Yeah. Okay, not in the mental development,
but more materials.
More materials oriented, less the so-called welfare oriented. But as the economy develops more and more, then people are thinking about how to maintain and pursue for the welfare, and rather than the material enjoyment.
Yes.
So in this case, then the mindset by the Czech people, I think, is pretty much the same as the Taiwanese people, and I think we should easy to find the consensus, the same core of the values together in some way. And as you mentioned, what I cherish most at this moment, I think the most things I cherish is families values, to be able to live with my family is what I consider to be the happiness and welfare to me. So traveling abroad, you get some new idea, you meet new friends, but however, I still cherish my families abroad in my hometown. So, but again, you have to balance these two, and that's why I choose a rather short stay, 5 months, 6 months, rather than a year in here. That is also an outcome from this balancing.
Yeah. As you said, the philosophy of balance.
Yeah. Philosophy of balance and the philosophy of pursuing harmonious
Yin
life.
And
Yin and yang, and the Tchaj. You always balancing the two. The two are always together. Yin and yang is always together. That's because without yin, without yang, it cannot be a Tchaj. Tchaj means you have yin, both have yin and yang. But yin cannot overturn the yang, and the yang cannot overthrow the yin. You need the balance of these two so that it can maintain these harmonies. So in this case, then you can always, and our life is also the same. You cannot all have the good things without bad things. You may not have all bad things without good things. Always good and bad together. But if you can balance it, then you can enjoy your life and reach the so-called happiness.
Yes. Okay. I think it's a good ending to this podcast. Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for invitations. Yeah.
Cink, dostali jste se na konec epizody a moc děkujeme za to, že jste nás poslouchali až do konce.
Určitě nám dejte like, určitě nás odebírejte a budeme se na vás těšit při příštím díle.
A pokud se vám díl líbil, pošlete nám zpětnou vazbu, pošlete nám to na e-mail zEvropy@perfecuni.cz, pošlete to svým známým, hoďte si to do storíčka na Instagramu, cokoliv. Budeme za to moc rádi, jak se to dostane co k největšímu množství lidí, které by to mohlo zajímat.
Děkujeme, mějte se hezky.